Ladies and gentlemen, let me speak directly to those who believe that life has slipped past them like a train that left the station at 39. Let me speak to those who whisper to themselves, "I'm too old to start over," or worse yet, "I missed my chance." You have not missed your chance. You've simply been gathering the tools. You have not aged out. You've just been seasoning your strength. You've been in training. Every failure, every heartbreak, every job you hated, and every morning you felt like giving up has been preparing you for this exact moment. Because the truth is, age is nothing but a number on the surface. What matters is the fire inside you, the burning desire that refuses to be extinguished by the ticking of a clock. That desire, my friends, is more powerful than any calendar. 40 is not the finish line. 40 is fuel. There are men and women who didn't write their first book, launch their first business, or take their first bold step until the rest of the world told them it was too late. But they didn't listen. Because they knew something most don't. They knew that success has no deadline. They didn't chase the years they lost. They chased the dream that still remained. The danger is not in growing older. The danger is in believing the lie that says your best years are behind you. That is the voice of fear, and fear is a thief. It steals your vision, your drive, your will to act. But faith in yourself, in your purpose, in the power planted deep within you, is the weapon that crushes that fear into dust. You don't need to chase youth. You need to chase purpose. You need to chase legacy. You need to look in the mirror and say, "I've survived everything life has thrown at me. I am not behind. I am built." You see, the reason people keep chasing after 40 is because they still believe something external will bring them fulfillment. But true success begins inside. It begins when you decide that today, not yesterday, not 20 years ago, is the moment that defines you. Today is the day you stop running after time and start using it like the asset it truly is. So stop chasing, start claiming, start believing, because your second act can be your greatest performance. Age is not a deadline, it's fuel for your purpose. Stop chasing time, start commanding it with intention. Age is not a deadline, it's fuel for your purpose. This truth, though often buried under layers of fear and societal expectations, is one of the most liberating realizations a person can have. From the moment we're born, the world begins placing timestamps on our potential. They tell us when we should walk, when we should talk, when we should graduate, get married, start a family, buy a house, retire, and quietly suggest that after a certain point, we are no longer meant to dream, grow, or start anew. But this narrative is not only flawed, it is dangerous, because it seduces us into believing that opportunity is something that expires. And yet, every truly successful person who found greatness beyond 40, 50, or even 60 years of age proves that age is not a barrier. It is a wellspring of power, wisdom, and perspective. There is a reason your spirit doesn't age. You might look in the mirror and see new lines forming across your face, or feel your body remind you that time is passing. But inside, that core, your soul, your will, your hunger, remains untouched by the clock. That's because purpose doesn't operate on the same schedule as youth. Purpose doesn't care if you've had 2 careers already, or if you've failed more times than you can count. In fact, it welcomes the wear and tear of experience. Purpose gains strength from what you've been through. It sharpens itself on the edge of your pain and polishes itself with the cloth of your perseverance. Too often, people buy into the myth that their value diminishes with time, that their ability to dream boldly fades with the setting sun of their youth. But if you look deeper, you'll find something profound. Youth is often filled with blind ambition, yes, but also uncertainty, distraction, and untested ideals. Experience, on the other hand, brings clarity. It brings depth. By 40, you've loved, you've lost, you've succeeded, you've stumbled, and you've learned. That learning is your fuel. Those scars are not signs of defeat. They are badges of survival, proof that you've endured, adapted, and lived. They are not limitations. They are credentials. When you reach an age where society says you should start settling down, that is precisely when you should consider standing up. Stand up for the dreams you deferred. Stand up for the voice you silenced. Stand up for the fire you felt in your youth, but now stoke with greater purpose and more powerful tools. By 40, you know what matters and what doesn't. You no longer chase illusions with the same desperation. You're more focused, more strategic, more connected to who you really are. That is not a weakness, it's a superpower. Think about the advantage of having lived through mistakes, of having watched others succeed and fail, of having learned not just from books, but from the harsh classroom of life. That advantage allows you to navigate obstacles with more wisdom, to approach challenges with more patience, and to seize opportunities with a stronger grip. And make no mistake, opportunities are not reserved for the young. They exist for the prepared, and by 40 you are more prepared than you've ever been. History is full of individuals who bloomed later in life. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was in her 40s. Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s. Samuel L. Jackson didn't become a household name until well into his 40s. These people didn't succeed in spite of their age. They succeeded because of it. Their experience, their resilience, their relentless refusal to give up despite the passage of time became the very foundation of their legacy. They weren't racing against the clock. They were powered by every tick of it. They weren't expired. They were seasoned. The problem is not that people grow older. The problem is that they grow afraid. Afraid that trying again means risking failure. Afraid that others will laugh, doubt, or dismiss them. But fear is a liar, and age is its favorite weapon. It whispers that your time has passed, that the spotlight belongs to the next generation. But let me remind you, time is not the enemy, time is the test. And if you've made it this far, you've already passed the hardest part. You're still standing, you're still breathing, you still have dreams. That means your purpose is still alive and well. Fuel does not ignite without a spark. That spark is your desire, the whisper in your heart that tells you it's not too late, the idea you can't stop thinking about, the book you want to write, the business you want to start, the relationship you want to heal, the adventure you want to pursue. That spark must not be ignored. Too many people douse their own flame by telling themselves it's too late to matter. But that is the greatest tragedy, to live an unlived life because you believed the lie that your best was behind you. Purpose is not passive. It demands action. It demands belief. You must be willing to see every year not as a closing door, but as another step on the path towards something greater. Every sunrise is a new opportunity to choose faith over fear, to lean into the work that calls you, to rise above regret and let your years empower you instead of paralyze you. There is a clarity that comes with age. You learn what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. You understand the value of time, not in the fear of losing it, but in the urgency to use it wisely. That urgency is not panic, it's purpose in motion. It's the realization that you don't have forever, but you have now, and now is always the right time to begin. You do not need permission to start again. You do not need to justify your dreams to anyone. You only need to believe that the lessons, the pain, the love, the joy, the failures, and the victories you've accumulated have all been preparing you for something meaningful. That belief is the foundation of purpose. And once you own it, once you step fully into it, your age becomes your advantage, not your excuse. So when the world tells you to slow down, to settle in, to give up the chase, remember that you are not chasing anything. You are building, you are creating, you are fulfilling, and everything you've lived through has been fuel for that mission. Age is not a deadline. It is the moment your clarity becomes undeniable, your grit becomes unshakable, and your purpose becomes unstoppable. Stop chasing time. Start commanding it with intention. This is not just advice. It is a shift in mindset, a transformation in how you engage with the one resource you can never earn back. Time, in its silent, steady rhythm, moves with or without you. The world has convinced many of us to run behind it, always in a state of catching up, of being late, of having missed some invisible deadline. And so, you chase promotions, you chase relationships. You chase trends, relevance, validation, but all the while the clock ticks, not with urgency, but with indifference, and here lies the truth that too few recognize. Time is not meant to be chased, it is meant to be commanded. Commanding time begins with awareness, awareness that you are not a victim of the clock, but the master of your moments. From the moment you wake up until the moment you sleep, every second is a currency you are spending. Most people spend this currency reactively, responding to notifications, demands, expectations, and obligations, rather than consciously choosing how to use it. The person who chases time is constantly reacting. The person who commands time is always creating. They do not wait for the right time, they make the time right. This shift from reaction to intention is where everything changes. Intention is the force that transforms hours into progress, days into meaning, and years into legacy. It is not about doing more, working longer, or squeezing productivity out of every moment. It is about knowing what matters and ensuring your time reflects that. When you command your time with intention, you start to notice where it leaks, where it is wasted, and how often it is given away to things that do not align with who you want to become. You begin to ask deeper questions. What am I building? Why am I doing this? Does this bring me closer to my vision or distract me from it? To stop chasing time means you no longer look at the clock as a looming threat, but as a trusted partner. Time becomes a mirror, reflecting back what you choose to prioritize. For many, that mirror shows a life filled with busyness but devoid of purpose. They are constantly in motion, yet going nowhere meaningful. They are exhausted but unfulfilled. They mistake activity for achievement. But commanding time is about choosing depth over distraction, clarity over chaos, and purpose over pressure. There is a kind of power that comes when you finally realize that time will never slow down for you, but you can slow down within it. You can create space, you can pause, you can breathe, you can make decisions not from a place of panic, but from principle. That's what intention does. It grounds you in what matters, so you don't get swept away by what doesn't. The person who lives with intention does not fear time running out, because they are too busy using it to build something real. We live in a world that celebrates the hustle, the grind, the constant motion. But the truth is, motion without meaning is just noise. It's a distraction dressed up as diligence. It's the illusion of progress without the substance. When you chase time, you're always looking at what you don't have. You're always trying to make up for something. But when you command it, you look at what you do have, and you make the most of it. That shift from scarcity to sufficiency is life-changing. To command time, you must first own your choices. That means taking radical responsibility for where your time goes, not blaming your job, your family, your obligations, or the pace of life. It means looking honestly at how you spend your days and asking, is this aligned with who I want to become? It means saying no often. It means disappointing others occasionally, so you can stop disappointing yourself consistently. It means setting boundaries not as a rejection of others, but as an affirmation of your values. People often feel that they're too busy to be intentional, but the reality is the opposite. They're too unintentional, which is why they're always busy. Without intention, your time is up for grabs. It gets taken by whoever shouts the loudest or whatever seems most urgent. But urgency is not the same as importance. Urgency is often someone else's priority, dressed in panic. Importance is what builds your future. Importance is where legacy lives, and when you command your time, importance gets your attention, not just urgency. There's something deeply liberating about realizing that time is not something you need more of. You need more direction with the time you already have. There are people doing extraordinary things in the same 24 hours that others waste. The difference is not resources, intelligence, or even talent. It's clarity. It's the ability to focus on what matters most and let the rest fade into the background. That's what it means to live with intention, to align your time with your truest values, not your momentary impulses. The truth is, your calendar is a reflection of your character. It shows what you really care about, not just what you say you care about. Look at how you spend your time, and you'll find the truth of your life. That truth can be painful, but it can also be empowering, because once you see it, you can change it, you can reclaim your time, you can restructure your priorities, you can start again, not because you've failed, but because you've awakened. Time is not slipping away. It is waiting for you to step into command, to stop living on autopilot, to stop measuring your life in missed deadlines and late starts. You have the ability to take back the hours lost to fear, to doubt, to procrastination. You do this by making every day count, not in a frantic, overachieving way, but in a conscious, deliberate way. You create rituals that support your purpose. You design your environment to support your goals. You surround yourself with people who respect your time and inspire your growth. You learn to say yes only to what moves you forward, and no to what holds you back. You guard your mornings. You protect your evenings. You honor your energy. You understand that every yes to something meaningless is a no to something profound, and so you choose with care. You act with clarity. You move with purpose. That's what it means to command time. Chasing time leads to burnout, frustration, and a constant sense of falling behind. It keeps you in a reactive loop, always trying to fix the past or anticipate the future. But commanding time brings you into the present. It grounds you. It empowers you to live your life by design, not default. It turns every hour into a tool, every minute into an opportunity, every second into a seed. The difference between those who create lasting impact and those who drift through life isn't luck. It's not age, it's not background, it's intention. The ability to know where you're going and make every decision, every action, every moment serve that destination. That ability is within you. It's not something you're born with, it's something you choose over and over again until it becomes who you are. When you command time, you stop running from the clock and start running toward your purpose. You stop seeing age as a countdown and start seeing it as a compass. You begin to live each day as if it were a vote for the life you want to build, and those votes, cast daily with intention, create momentum. They build habits, they create legacy. Every person has the same raw material of time. What makes the difference is not how much of it you have, but how intentionally you use it. Don't be seduced by the illusion that you're running out of time. Be inspired by the truth that time responds to the way you lead it. That is your power, that is your responsibility, and that is your path to purpose. The clock does not define your destiny, you do. When you stop chasing time and begin commanding it with clear, unshakable intention, you reclaim your power, your purpose, and your peace. Every moment becomes a choice, not a chase. And in that choice, you stop counting the years behind you and start building the legacy ahead of you.